Hi everyone! So we are here today to do our August wrap-up. We read some really awesome books this month, so let's just get right into it.
The first book on my list is Amulet, Book 1, The Stonekeeper by Kazu Kibuishi. This is one that I actually thought I had already read, but I picked it up when I went to the library the other day and realized I definitely had not. I had read some of his other stuff, but I never actually started this series. So what better time than now? Also, the line on the back says, "There's something strange behind the basement door," and I don't know who could turn a book down after reading that tagline. So this is book 1 of what is right now a 7-book series. I believe there are an 8th and a 9th in the works, but lucky me, I came to this late so I can go and pick up numbers 2 through 7 right away, and I don't have to wait. So the first book starts with our main character Emily and her little brother Nathan and their mom all moving to her mom's old family home after there was an accident and her dad has passed away. On the first day in her great-great-great-uncle's old house, while she's cleaning up, Emily finds an amulet in his old office. Later that night, there are strange sounds and some movement in the basement, and when Emily's mom goes to investigate, she gets taken away through the basement door into this other land. So Emily and Nathan follow her through the door and are suddenly immersed in this crazy land that exists beyond the basement, and there are tentacle monsters that have kidnapped their mom, and their great uncle is still living in this world. So there are all sorts of creatures and characters and robots that Emily and Nathan have to work with and work against to rescue their mom. Book 1 obviously ends on a cliffhanger, but as I said, there are lots more to go after this, and I cannot wait to pick the next one up.
So the first book I'm going to talk about is What Light by J. Asher. Now I realize What Light is actually a Christmas story, and it's August right now, but I just had a craving for a short little contemporary book, and that was the only one I had on my shelf, so I picked it up. Now J. Asher is also the author of 13 Reasons Why, but this book is very, very different from that, and it's a lot more happy-go-lucky feeling of a book. So in this book, we follow a high school student named Sierra who lives in Oregon with her parents on a Christmas tree farm, and then every December they relocate to California where they run a Christmas tree lot where people can come buy their trees. One day while Sierra is working on this Christmas tree lot, a boy named Caleb comes and starts buying Christmas trees from her on a regular basis, quite mysteriously. Sierra then befriends and kind of falls for this boy before finding out that he has some pretty messed up secrets in his past. Now at its heart, this is quite a simple and lovely little contemporary romance Christmas story, and I don't know if I'd recommend picking it up in August like I did, but overall it was a wonderful read, and if you wait till December, you should pick it up.
The next book on my list is Through the Woods, Stories by Emily Carroll. I picked this one up on a total whim at the library because I love this cover, and I have, honest to God, never been so terrified in a very fun way, but in a genuine way, while reading a book. Emily Carroll is a graphic novelist and a cartoonist living in England, and all of her stories, at least in this collection, have a real sort of gothic, Wuthering Heights British feel to them, which I just love. There are 5 different stories in this book, and they are all just super, super spooky. I don't recommend this one for middle grade. I would say maybe 14 and up, 13 if you're already reading or watching horror movies. But yeah, absolutely a perfect pre-Halloween read if you are interested in graphic novels. Can't recommend this one enough.
Next, I have The Trials of Apollo by Riordan. Now, everybody knows what this book is. It's set in this huge Percy Jackson world, and everybody knows that I love Riordan, so I was so excited to finally read it. And basically, this is the story of our beloved character Apollo after he is kicked out of Olympus by Zeus and turned into a mortal 16-year-old boy. Now, I will say right away that you cannot read this book if you have not finished the Heroes of Olympus series, as it will spoil everything, so do not start here with Riordan. That said, I think if you have read all of those Percy Jackson books, you will definitely love this, as we all know Apollo is kind of a love to hate character in those series, and you really get to see a lot of his snark and sass in these books as well. Now I found this book particularly fun because you see a lot of the side characters in Percy Jackson, including Percy Jackson himself, and you actually get to go back to Camp Half-Blood. And as we've come to expect with Rick, it is absolutely hilarious. Every single chapter actually starts with a really bad haiku, because Apollo is the god of poetry, that kind of sums up the chapter to come, and it just had me giggling the entire time. Now if you have read up to the end of Heroes of Olympus, but you haven't started Magnus Chase yet, you can read both of them at the same time and you won't get spoiled. So if you still haven't carried on after Heroes of Olympus, it doesn't matter which one you pick up first because it will be fine.
The last book on my list is Race to the Bottom of the Sea by Lindsay Eager. I loved this book. The main character of this book is 11-year-old Fidelia Quayle. Her parents are both marine biologists, and she herself is a budding marine biologist, and her love of the sea and everything inside of it I just found so cool. I could definitely relate to it as a West Coast girl. At the beginning of this book, Fidelia's parents die when a storm unexpectedly comes up when they are exploring the ocean floor. And then Fidelia, when she is packing up their library, is suddenly kidnapped by pirates and taken away because they know her parents' reputation and now they need her help to help find a bunch of sunken treasure. In addition to her love of marine biology, Fidelia is also an inventor, and I really liked how Lindsay Eager put us right in there with her as she was going through the frustrating process and then the satisfying process of inventing brand new things. This book was super exciting, and then on top of that, it was heartwarming and funny and a little bit sad, and I just absolutely adored it. This book comes out on October 10th, and I definitely recommend picking yourself up a copy.
And finally, I have The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. And full disclosure, I actually haven't finished this book yet, but I'm very close to the end and I am absolutely loving it. Like, I think it's going to be one of my favorite books of the year. So this story is set in an alternate history version of Russia, and in it, two magicians have to fight to the death in order to become the Imperial Enchanter. They go through this ancient game called the Crown's Game, in which they essentially duel each other in turns to impress the Tsar of Russia. So although our two magicians, Nikolai and Laika, are essentially fighting each other to the death, they have formed a kind of tentative friendship through the magical visions that they are creating for the Tsar. Now, I don't know how this book ends yet, obviously, but so far it has just been so beautiful, and the description of magic has been entirely fascinating, and I cannot wait to get to the end and read the sequel really soon.
So those were just a few of the books that we read this month. As always, we would love to hear what you've been reading, so tell us in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more bookish videos. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome.
Bye!